a wonderful breakthrough from two American students. They've designed some high-tech gloves which could help the people who are deaf. What they do, rather wonderfully, is they're called SignAloud gloves, and they actually translate the movements that you make in sign language whilst wearing the gloves into English. Well, to American English, to be fair, but still, nevertheless, understandable English. This is a major breakthrough, we think. Let's talk to Helen Lansdowne, who's Chief Executive of Deafax. Thank you very much for joining us, Helen.
Hi there.
Hello. And this is just a pair of entrepreneurial technology students. They've designed these gloves, but this could be a real breakthrough and a real change for many people who are deaf in terms of their ability to communicate with those who don't know sign language.
Yes, exactly. Well, you can imagine the news has been a really hot topic in the office today amongst deaf and hearing colleagues of mine. And generally, their response has been really positive. It is, as you say, a new way for deaf people to communicate to hearing people who don't know sign language. But they've also raised some really interesting points about how and where it might be used and what some of the limitations might be.
Well, exactly. I mean, it's just we only have a new bit of information on it. The gloves use apparently embedded sensors to monitor the position and movement of the user's hands, and then they transmit the data via Bluetooth to a computer, which analyses the movements, checks them against a library of gestures, and goes, clearly you were saying this word there and then, and using these algorithms and working out sentence structures will effectively make that sound come through a speaker. I've got a close family member actually who is pretty seriously deaf, not completely deaf, but seriously deaf, and is actually attending sign language classes at the current time, deliberately to be able to communicate once they are fully deaf, and it's something the family are talking about. Learning, the children needing to learn, their ability to sign language to communicate. But this could be revolutionary, because this is something that means that they could communicate with others. But I suppose it's not going to be able to help other people who don't know language to communicate back, which is the problem.
Yes, it does. That was one of the things that my colleagues raised. They felt it was one way, but it's good, but it is one way. I mean, it's in its early stages, of course, and it would be interesting to find out how deaf people feel about wearing the gloves and how hearing people respond to the voice output. For example, if it draws attention to the signer, or if that's a good or bad thing. And the other thing was that obviously it's interesting that it's American Sign Language, but sign language is different in every country.
That's it. This works with American
regionally.
Sign Language, yes.
That's right. It would be interesting to see what it's like with British Sign Language users, and it would be good if we could get it in the hands of some deaf native sign language users, because it's being demoed by the inventors who appear to be hearing. So that would be interesting to see how all of that worked. One of the key things also is because, as you said, it's using a set dictionary of content. We were wondering how easy it would be to add vocabulary to that underlying dictionary.
Well, one assumes. I mean, I'm married to an IT expert, but I therefore I can work an iPhone, and that's pretty much where I leave it. But my guess would be that this is once someone has come up with the idea itself, and we already know where people are using sensors and the like to operate, bionic arms and the like. That surely this is not going to be on the wit of man at all to make adjustments to either add to the dictionary, to change the language for each country in terms of what the movements mean, and develop it somewhere. The only limitation I can see from the outside is as you say, it's that one-way issue. The idea of how a deaf person could actually impart information to the hearing world, but not be able to understand anything back if someone. But I suppose things could be written down, But am I not right in thinking, though, there is quite a strong feeling within a lot of people in the deaf community that sign language is a form of communication, their form of communication, and one that perhaps is one that they don't want to die out in that respect. It's a language.
It's a recognised language. It's absolutely. In fact, in Scotland, there's a British Sign Language Act, which means it's legally constituted as a recognised sign language, with the laws that go alongside that, and we're campaigning for that to be the case in England. But yes, it's a recognised language in England with all the grammar and structure and syntax that individual languages have. It has all its own. And in fact, when you've mentioned about writing things down, those who are sign language users and it's their preferred and first language, because of it's completely different in its grammatical structure, would find it difficult, therefore, to use written English as a substitute. that's the whole point. They want to be using their preferred language, and that's what they've grown up, their native signers.
This is it, yes. But I suppose, though, anything that gives hope that can actually aid all communication, it has got to be a good thing, because we are with an ageing population. We have to accept that it may be the case that more and more of us will actually experience some form of deafness in our later years. This is a growing problem, and that this is something that it's in everyone's interest to support and hope. And it's just wonderful that these young men, just students, are looking at an issue that doesn't affect them but could affect many millions of people around the globe.
Quite. And if you think 1 in 6 of the UK population has some form of hearing loss, that's a lot of people, isn't it, who are experiencing that. So any ideas, any thoughts, any innovations that can be brought forward to aid people, then we're all for it.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for talking to us, Helen Lansdowne. She's Chief Executive of Deafax, a charity working for deaf people. Very much appreciate